ਟਰੂਡੋ ਦੀ ਅਗਵਾਈ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਬਰਲਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ 14 ਦਸੰਬਰ ਨੂੰ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਦੀ ਵਿੱਤੀ ਸਥਿਤੀ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਮੁਹੱਈਆ ਕਰਵਾਈ ਜਾਵੇਗੀ। ਇਸ ਦੌਰਾਨ ਮਹਿੰਗਾਈ ਦਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਏ ਵਾਧੇ, ਬ੍ਰਿਟਿਸ਼ ਕੋਲੰਬੀਆ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਏ ਹੜ੍ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਕੋਵਿਡ-19 ਦੇ ਨਵੇਂ ਵੇਰੀਐਂਟ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆਉਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਅਰਥਚਾਰੇ ਦੀ ਸਥਿਤੀ ਬਾਰੇ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਦਾ ਨਜ਼ਰੀਆ ਸਪਸ਼ਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇਗਾ। ਵਿੱਤ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਕ੍ਰਿਸਟੀਆ ਫਰੀਲੈਂਡ ਨੇ ਆਖਿਆ ਕਿ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਜਾਣਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੀ ਵਿੱਤੀ ਸਥਿਤੀ ਬਾਰੇ ਪਾਰਦਰਸ਼ੀ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਅਹਿਮ ਹੈ।
Mr. Speaker, news is just leaking out about more massive spending plans from the Liberal government that just recently acknowledged their role in the inflation crisis. Reuters News is reporting the finance minister will only give limited information in her fiscal update. The government has already refused to account for $600 billion of their spending, and now they're planning to spend more without any accountability. Why is this government covering up their out-of-control spending?
I'm really pleased to answer an economic question from the leader of the official opposition. It gives me the chance to congratulate him for agreeing last week with Stephen Poloz and the majority of serious economists that, and I quote, inflation is a global phenomenon. Now, the member for Durham seems to now have lost his nerve, but I guess flip-flops from the Conservative leader are no surprise to Canadian voters, or indeed to the Conservative caucus.
Many families across Canada have been able to count on our government to support them, whether it is through the introduced tax cuts for families or creating the Canada Child Benefit or making life more affordable through the early learning and childcare agreements. Can the Minister of Finance tell this House when Canadians can expect a new fiscal and economic update?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
I'd like to thank the member for her question and welcome her to the House. Our government's focus is to finish the fight against COVID and to support our recovery from the COVID recession. We know it's important to Canadians that we are careful and transparent with our nation's finances. That's why I'm pleased to announce that I will be giving an economic and fiscal update to Canadians on December 14th.
ਬ੍ਰਿਟਿਸ਼ ਕੋਲੰਬੀਆ ਦੇ ਜਨਤਕ ਸੁਰੱਖਿਆ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਅਤੇ ਸਾਲਿਸਿਟਰ ਜਨਰਲ ਮਾਈਕ ਫੋਰਨਵਰਥ ਨੇ ਸੂਬੇ ਦੇ ਦੱਖਣ ਪੱਛਮੀ ਹਿੱਸੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਏ ਹੜ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਥਿਤੀ ਬਾਰੇ ਅਪਡੇਟ ਪ੍ਰਦਾਨ ਕੀਤੀ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਹਾਲਤ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਸਥਿਰ ਹਨ, ਪਰ ਸੂਬੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਜੇ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਬਾਕੀ ਹੈ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਭਰੋਸਾ ਦਿਵਾਇਆ ਕਿ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਖੜੀ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਹੜ੍ਹਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਪ੍ਰਭਾਵਿਤ ਹੋਏ ਹਨ।
Our government is here to support everyone who has been impacted by these devastating floods, including our vital agricultural producers. We are now on the other end of this series of intense storms, and the latest events were thankfully not as severe as forecast. Many flood evacuation orders and road closures remain in place, however. The worst weather now appears to be behind us, and I think we are all grateful for that. I'm happy to report that Environment Canada is forecasting more typical seasonal conditions for the next week. We'll see some precipitation, but nothing as concerning as in recent weeks. And the River Forecast Centre is taking down many of their advisories, with river levels expected to continue to drop. Throughout this event, I've spoken with many local leaders, including Mayor Braun of Abbotsford, Mayor Brown of Merritt, and Indigenous leaders across the province. And I continue to be impressed by their strength and leadership. Local leaders in impacted areas have been doing an incredible job of responding in real time to this evolving disaster, keeping their residents informed and their communities safe. The process of recovering and rebuilding is already underway, and while it will take time, I'm confident that we will get there. Because of the outstanding leadership shown in our communities and the collective efforts of so many workers and volunteers. This includes members of the Cowichan Forestry Services, Canadian Armed Forces, and BC Wildfire Service, who've worked together shoulder to shoulder on flood protection measures to keep the Clem Big House on Cowichan Tribe's territory safe. There are countless stories like this, stories of public safety agencies, communities, and industries coming together to make a profound difference in this response and recovery. Our top priority continues to be public safety.
ਕੋਵਿਡ-19 ਦਾ ਨਵਾਂ ਵੇਰੀਐਂਟ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆਉਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਵੀ ਬੂਸਟਰ ਸ਼ਾਟਸ ਲਈ ਕਮਰ ਕੱਸ ਲਈ ਗਈ ਹੈ। ਹੁਣ ਵੈਕਸੀਨ ਦੀ ਤੀਜੀ ਡੋਜ਼ ਭਾਵ ਬੂਸਟਰ ਡੋਜ਼ ਲਈ ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ 50 ਸਾਲ ਤੇ ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਉਮਰ ਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਯੋਗ ਕਰਾਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ। ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਦੇ ਚੀਫ ਮੈਡੀਕਲ ਅਫਸਰ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਕਿਰਨ ਮੂਰ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ 13 ਦਸੰਬਰ ਤੋਂ ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਸਰਕਾਰ 50 ਸਾਲ ਅਤੇ ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਉਮਰ ਦੇ ਨਿਵਾਸੀਆਂ ਲਈ ਕੋਵਿਡ-19 ਵੈਕਸੀਨ ਬੂਸਟਰ ਡੋਜ਼ ਲਈ ਯੋਗਤਾ ਵਧਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ।
We reported the 10,000th death from COVID-19 in Ontario. This number represents loved ones, families, friends, and co-workers. It's a stark reminder of the toll that this pandemic has taken on our province, on our communities. I want to extend my deepest sympathies and condolences to all those that are grieving, and thank you to all those health care workers that provided care to these individuals and those that continue to try to prevent this disease by working at immunization centers, assessment centers, and also continuing to provide care. In the last few weeks, we've seen our case counts increase with flare-ups in various regions across the province, and the highest rates of transmission are occurring in our north. I want to thank our local public health agencies for their continued commitment to protecting the health and well-being of their populations and for implementing additional public health and workplace safety measures as needed in response to any rise in cases. On a positive note, Ontario still has one of the lowest weekly case rates in the country, and our hospitalization and ICU occupancy remain stable. As we continue our vaccine rollout of first and second doses, I am pleased also to announce that we are expanding our COVID-19 vaccine booster dose eligibility. Beginning Monday, December 13th, individuals aged 50 and over will be eligible to schedule their booster dose appointment. In addition, effectively immediately, individuals receiving dialysis are eligible for a third dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Beginning in January, Ontario will further expand eligibility for booster doses based on age and risk with an interval of 6 to 8 months from the second dose. We are also recommending revaccination with a COVID-19 vaccine series post-transplantation for individuals who receive hematopoietic stem cell transplants, hematopoietic cell transplants, and recipients of CAR T cell therapy due to loss of immunity following therapy or transplant.
ਨਿਊ ਬ੍ਰੰਸਵਿਕ ਦੇ ਪੋਸਟ ਸੈਕੰਡਰੀ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਸਿਖਲਾਈ ਅਤੇ ਲੇਬਰ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਨੇ ਘੋਸ਼ਣਾ ਕੀਤੀ ਕਿ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ 2022 ਵਿੱਚ ਘੱਟੋ-ਘੱਟ ਉਜਰਤਾਂ $2 ਪ੍ਰਤੀ ਘੰਟਾ ਵਧਾਏਗਾ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਅਪ੍ਰੈਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਜਰਤਾਂ $1 ਵਧਾਈਆਂ ਜਾਣਗੀਆਂ ਅਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਅਕਤੂਬਰ ਵਿੱਚ $1 ਦਾ ਹੋਰ ਵਾਧਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇਗਾ, ਜਿਸ ਨਾਲ ਅਗਲੇ ਸਾਲ ਮਿਨੀਮਮ ਵੇਜ $13.75 ਹੋ ਜਾਵੇਗਾ।
However, despite all of those positives, there is one area where we have fallen behind: our minimum wage. In my riding of Portland Simons, it is as economically diverse as they come. And at home, like many other regions across this province, families are struggling to make ends meet. I have heard firsthand from my constituents how hard-working New Brunswickers sacrifice when they can't afford the basic necessities of life. I think we can all agree that families shouldn't have to choose whether they put food on the table or gas in the tank. Our government understands that we must take significant action to help those falling behind, and that brings me to the minimum wage. As I'm sure you all know, we are currently dead last in the country in terms of our minimum wage, and significantly behind our Atlantic Canadian neighbours. This fact is something that has been troubling me as Minister of Labour for some time. And to be frank, it's downright embarrassing. That's why today I am very proud to announce that in 2022, our government will increase New Brunswick's minimum wage by $2 per hour.
ਅਲਬਰਟਾ ਦੇ ਜੌਬਸ ਇਕੋਨਮੀ ਅਤੇ ਇਨੋਵੇਸ਼ਨ ਮਨਿਸਟਰ ਨੇ ਐਡਮਿੰਟਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਨਿਊਜ਼ ਕਾਨਫਰੰਸ ਆਯੋਜਿਤ ਕੀਤੀ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸੰਯੁਕਤ ਰਾਜ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੂਬੇ ਦੇ ਵਪਾਰ ਅਤੇ ਨਿਵੇਸ਼ ਦਫ਼ਤਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿਸਤਾਰ ਦੀ ਘੋਸ਼ਣਾ ਕੀਤੀ। ਇਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਲਬਰਟਾ ਦੇ ਸੀਨੀਅਰ ਪ੍ਰਤੀਨਿਧੀ ਅਤੇ ਸਾਬਕਾ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ MP ਜੇਮਸ ਰਾਜੋਟੇ ਵੀ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਸਨ।
It's an exciting announcement that we're expanding our reach into the United States. Engagement with our largest trading partner is more important now than ever. And we're seeing from day to day, from agriculture to forestry to energy, it's important for Alberta to have a voice in the United States, but not just in Washington, D.C. We're seeing more and more now with policies that are being developed at the state level, as well as litigation as well. We're seeing that in real time in the energy industry. It's important for Alberta to be on the ground, engaging with policymakers, government officials, think tanks, the business community in the United States, across the U.S. So today we're launching an expansion of our United States offices under the leadership of James Verjot, our representative in Washington, D.C. And we're announcing that offices we're expanding our presence in Washington, D.C. We're also establishing offices in Seattle, Chicago, and Denver. This is exciting for us as the province of Alberta to get to this level where we're engaging, but also in addition to that, this is a North American strategy. So not only engaging with the United States, but all of North America. So we're also putting under this strategy our Mexico office as well, under the leadership of James Verjot. It's important for us as Albertans to engage across North America. Our largest trading partner obviously is the United States. And we're also seeing today with the decoupling of supply chains, the global tension between the United States and China, that there's an opportunity here for Albertans to engage, make sure that our voices are heard in the United States with our largest trading partner. That's going to create opportunities for Albertans, making sure that our economic interests are protected, as well as jobs here in the province of Alberta.
ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਗੱਡੀ ਵੱਲੋਂ 10 ਰਾਹਗੀਰਾਂ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਗੱਡੀ ਨੂੰ ਟੱਕਰ ਮਾਰੇ ਜਾਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ 8 ਸਾਲਾ ਬੱਚੀ ਦੀ ਮੌਤ ਹੋ ਗਈ। ਲੰਡਨ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਸਰਵਿਸ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਐਮਰਜੈਂਸੀ ਅਮਲੇ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਾਮੀ 6:45 ਉੱਤੇ ਇਸ ਹਾਦਸੇ ਦਾ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਫੋਰਨ ਵੰਡਰਲੈਂਡ ਰੋਡ ਦੇ ਪੱਛਮ ਵੱਲ ਰਿਵਰਸ ਸਾਈਡ ਡਰਾਈਵ ਉੱਤੇ ਘਟਨਾ ਵਾਲੀ ਥਾਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਗਿਆ। ਬੁੱਧਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਗਈ ਅਪਡੇਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਹਾਦਸੇ ਵਿੱਚ 6 ਸਾਲ ਤੋਂ 40 ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਉਮਰ ਦੀਆਂ 10 ਮਹਿਲਾ ਰਾਹਗੀਰ ਜ਼ਖਮੀ ਹੋਈਆਂ। 8 ਸਾਲ ਬੱਚੀ ਗੰਭੀਰ ਰੂਪ ਵਿੱਚ ਜ਼ਖਮੀ ਹੋਈ ਤੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਸਪਤਾਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਸ ਦੀ ਮੌਤ ਹੋ ਗਈ। ਪੁਲਿਸ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਬਾਲਕ ਤੇ 4 ਬੱਚੇ ਅਜੇ ਹਸਪਤਾਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਹਨ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਹਾਲਤ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਬੱਚੇ ਦੀ ਹਾਲਤ ਬਿਹਤਰ ਹੈ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ 2 ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਟੀਨਏਜਰ ਨੂੰ ਮਾਮੂਲੀ ਜ਼ਖਮਾਂ ਦੇ ਇਲਾਜ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਹਸਪਤਾਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਛੁੱਟੀ ਦੇ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਗਈ।
I couldn't believe what I saw. And this car just went through both roads without stopping.
Mounting a curb, striking a light post, as well as a small tree before a group of pedestrians were struck. One 8-year-old girl has succumbed to her injuries and has died in hospital.
Can't lie, I called my mom crying last night when I heard the news and I went, it hurts. We're about to go meet their parents. That's a whole group of parents waiting for little ones that just didn't show up. And
no parent is supposed to bury their child. They're going to be burying their child just for Christmas. This is horrendous.
I want to give my condolences, my prayers and thoughts to the little girl's family and everyone else. I want to wish them a speedy recovery.